Yo, what's good, y'all? I hope y'all loving the new touch up. You know what I'm saying? I got a little work done, as you can see. The podcast for this particularly will now be called Context Matters. All right, so it's not really a segment anymore. It's more the whole thing, right? I add context to, of course, my takes and everything like that. Um, Today, I want to discuss defense. I want to discuss 3 point tendencies and basically skill, right? Um, the three things that everybody says either the old heads don't have or the new kids don't have, everything like that. I'm going to explain my take on what I think the actual reality is. Um, Biggest thing though, biggest thing is that people need to realize everything is relative. All right, that's relativity is the huge thing. When you're talking about skill, when you're talking about um, defense and all that, it's in regards to something else. You're comparing it to something else, right? Before I start, I want to talk about a little small, not small incident, but something that happened on, of course, ESPN First Take. Max Kellerman was let go of First Take. Um, everybody who knows Max knows that Max kind of has the. He said, "Okay, the preacher." Ah, Jesus Christ. That's good, Dad. Everybody knows that Max has a lot of bad takes, pretty funny takes, things that are like memeable, as of course the whole like fate against the world. Who do you want to take the last shot? I want Eagle Dollar, right? Like that. That's that guy, right? Um, but his chemistry on the screen was pretty good. It actually was one of the main things that put First Take as number one for the past 5 years. Um, the biggest issue, however, Stephen A. just came out and said that he put the recommendation in that he wanted to let Max go, right? Uh, Biggest issue with that, of course, is everybody thought Stephen A. was the one supporting Max, but it turns out he was the one pushing Max away. And then apparently it was supposed to be for the past 3 years, right? He wanted to push Max away for the past 3 years. This is a case, in my opinion, of people not being jealous, but like kind of not wanting the spotlight shine against them because at this point, I think T.O. Terrell Owens, football player, he said that Max was more black than Stephen A. So, Stephen A. being black, and he was like, oh, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people feel like that was a turning point when Stephen A.'s blackness was being called into question. Um, I personally think like that's some really, really hater shit. Like I feel like if you're number one, then do what you did to be number one. Right? If you're number one consistently, don't change your formula until you see your number two. Then you start changing your formula. Right? To me, it just doesn't make sense for that to happen. All right, I just want to speak on that. All right, Max is actually part of a new show. I think he's in the morning show now, where he's the host. So technically, you could say he was promoted, but no, we all know First Take is like ESPN's bread and butter. So forget all that. We're gonna go into this real nice light. We're gonna go into real nice light. You know what I'm saying? I want to first talk about defense, right? I want to talk about how people think that the defense back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s was overrated. Right, a lot of these young dudes out here think that it was overrated. They see pictures of the 80s, 90s players, and I see something going around. It was a meme, actually, not a meme, but like a poster that said basically, "Oh, whoever thinks Braun can't survive back in the 90s, look at this," right? And they put Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer is the guy who made the Jordan rules. Right? He's the guy that perfected the Jordan rules. He's the guy that clotheslined Jordan, put him in a chokehold, right? Put, like just everything when he got to the line. That is the last guy you want to put in comparison when talking about oh, this would be easy. No, 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 no. Don't judge a book by its cover. You don't judge it all because he was like this like looked like he was an out of shape white dude. Doesn't mean he couldn't ball or play defense, right? Let me just put into perspective. Nikola Jokic literally just won MVP last year. Luka Doncic is actually a top 10 player of the NBA right now. Right, a lot of people like to put Luka in there, even though he's had as much success as Russell Westbrook in the playoffs. You know, that's neither here nor there, right? But the reason why I personally think that defense back then was better is because defense was 50% focused on, right? You played basketball the way you should play basketball, in my opinion. 50% offense, 50% defense. If you need to work on defense, you worked on defense. If you need to pick up your offense, you pick up your offense. The issue back then though was that it was a clogged paint, right? It was a clogged paint. Majority of the forwards were in the paint, like in the paint area, right? They weren't outside taking threes. They were in the paint area, which means that you, as an offensive player, had to be strong, right? If you weren't the point guard or the shooting guard, you had to be strong, right? Stronger than almost everybody there, which means you focused on your toughness, you focused on your durability, you focused on your strength, you focused on your power. Right? I always view power and strength as two different things. I feel like power is how fast or the peak of like what you can do, right? Like so, for example, I think power is the fact that you can lift 500 pounds, while strength is the endurance of that. Like how many times can you lift 500 pounds? You know what I'm saying? So like when you're pushing something, like you're pushing somebody, the power is the initial boom, but then the strength is how long can you keep up that power? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I always view it. Besides even that, um, majority of the time, if you really look at it, it was normally one-on-one defense, right? I think it was illegal to play zone. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was illegal to play zone. You did have help, like people can come help you if like somebody penetrates the paint by you and stuff like that. You can still have help, right? But the zone wasn't a thing, which means also that you were individually focused on, right? If the person has, I don't care who you are, right? If your name was Kobe, if your name was Shaq, if your name was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, hell, if your name was Lonzo Ball, right? Whoever had the ball, the focus was on them. You didn't have to worry about that dude down there, anything like that. No, you focused on who's in front of you, one-on-one matchup every time. Because it was mostly a one-on-one matchup every time, uh, players had to focus on what made them better. Right? They couldn't depend on their team to pick up the slack for where they left off. Right? So if a defender, if I'm one on one and I'm always beat by that defender, guess what happens? You in the gym either that night or tomorrow morning, and your coaches have you run defensive drills all the time. Right? Your coach is gonna have you do lateral progression, power explosions off, everything like that. Right? That's what your coach is gonna have you do. Then you go into, of course, rebounding, assists, blah 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 blah. But you had what the '90s ended up birthing, or '80s, you could say, is somebody like Dennis Rodman, who can literally tell where a rebound is gonna go based off of the trajectory of the shot. Right? He could tell where it's gonna land. He could tell when it's gonna land and everything like that. Which is why Dennis Rodman was averaging 19 rebounds and like 2 points, right? Because that's the other thing about back then in regards to, and this is I'm gonna translate this to skill. Role players knew their role, right? Rodman knew his offense wasn't that good, right? Especially as he got older and then when he joined the Bulls. So what did he do? He focused only on rebounding, right, and defense. Because of the fact that Rodman took a break on the offensive side of the ball, right? Nobody was looking for him to score. They were just looking for the rebound. The fact that he took a break on the offensive side of the ball, which means he could put most of his focus on the defensive side. But he also knew he could do that because the offensive side had people like Jordan and Pippen and cool coach. You know what I mean? You had not really scorers outside of Jordan, but you had people that can score, right? So you combine those two, right? This is where you start to see the slack off, right? Because this is when you start to see the opposite of what happening today. Today, defense is not treated as 50% of the ball of the sport because it did not attract people. Right, offense attracted people. Dunks, 3 pointers, game winners, all that stuff attracted people. Not the game winning block, not the game winning steal, not 25 rebounds. Like nobody was. Oh, let me just say, the NBA perspective was that people weren't watching that. Right. One of the things about what, like, for example, Jordan and Kobe is Jordan and Kobe and Hakeem played the whole sport, offense and defense, right? And you know how you could tell that it became a thing to not play defense when we started calling players two-way players. We have to have a name for somebody who actually plays the whole sport. Two-way. When was that? When was that? When the hell did somebody say that? Right? When did somebody go, you know what, that person plays offense and defense? They one of the best two-way players in the game. And one of the best players. Best two-way players. They have to have their own category. And that alone should tell you that they do not like defense. They do not like to emphasize defense. Right? So what do you see when you don't emphasize defense? You start to see a rise in scoring. Right? This how I'm gonna translate it to skill. You start to see a rise in scoring because you start to see more attempts. Why do you start to see more attempts? Because a lot of people, right, don't focus on the offense, on the defense. So what happens, right? Person shoots the ball, they miss, you automatically run back on offense. Automatically. Don't even slow things down. But do you get stopped that much? No. Most of the time, a possession ends with you missing. Not the other team playing good defense. No, it depends on you missing. If you miss, 99.99% of the time, you're going back to the other side. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to the whole defensive thing, people got to realize it's not just physicality, right? So when you're playing defense, it's all about lateral movement. How fast can I react to you, right? That's when it's one-on-one, right? How fast can I react to you? Do I know where you're gonna go? This is all the things that were being used when discussing defense. Where would you go? How can I predict your next move? What can I do? Is somebody gonna come pick you? Like, all that stuff is running through your mind as a defender. You know what runs through your mind now? If I lose this guy, my center got me, or my forward got me. You know what I'm saying? There's a lack of responsibility now, right? Because everybody's so focused on team defense that they stop focusing on their individual. And people don't realize that the individual, right? Imagine this. Imagine a team in the NBA decides, right, to then stop focusing on team defense. Like, hey, when this person's gone, you pick up this person. Imagine for 1 year they stop doing that and only focus on individual defense, right? You know what would happen? The team as a whole will get better because end of the day, basketball is one-on-one matchups until somebody else gets involved, right? Even a pick, if you look at it, even a pick is a one-on-one matchup. But it may last only a second or two because the pick is now, okay, you're not on that person anymore. You're on the pick guy, right, when the pick comes. So you do two things. Do I go around the pick? Do I go through the pick? Right? Or do I just stay here? Right? So there's 3 options. And that alone is a one-on-one between you and the person setting the pick. Right? If you get off the pick and you're able to get back to your person, guess what? It's a one-on-one again. Right? The main goal is to make sure your guy gives up the ball, right? He gives up the possession, or else you're gonna run out the clock, you know. And if you truly look at it back then, a lot of the times the on-ball defense was huge. They had hand checking though. They had hand checking. That's why hand checking was no longer a thing because it stopped the offense, right? It had the defender guide the offensive player where they want to go. This actually helps out smaller players to bigger players, right? Now I'm not saying people like AI and Muggsy Bogues handling Shaq, right? I'm not talking about that. Right? I'm talking about if I'm 6'2", 6'3", like Curry I think is 6'3". So if I'm Steph Curry and Braun is 6'8", right? When he has his back towards me, when he's trying to dribble, I can still nudge him a bit, right? So that way I can push him towards one direction. I mean, nobody in the NBA is freaking weak as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? You play the sport, you got to be physical at least some point. But nobody in the NBA is that weak that they can't do anything, right? What's good, Yachty? Which then leads me to talk about three-point tendency. Now, everybody and their mama want to shoot like Steph Curry. Everybody and their mama want to shoot like Steph Curry, right? I personally think the three ball killed the game. I personally think that. Hold on, because if you look at it, the average. Hold on, let me see if I can get it for you. So. So I think the average team per night, I believe, makes about 10 3-pointers, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Let me just look this up right here. See if I can get it for you guys. Oh, that's why. There it is. Okay, so we're gonna look at the league averages, right? I'm gonna put it up for you guys. Well, I keep it. So with the league averages, right? Let me just put it in perspective. I'm gonna give you about between 83 to like 2000, right? So we can consider that basically 90s ball, right? 83 to 2000. All right. So in from 83, I'm gonna give you the average 3-pointer attempts and the average made, right? So the average 3-pointer attempts in 1982 to 83 is 2. And this is by league, right? This is not player. This is league, the entire league as a whole, right? So the average 3-pointer is two attempts, right? And I'm gonna go by each year. 82 to 83, 3. 83 to 84, 2. 84 to 85, 3. I'm not even gonna say it like that. 85, 3. 86, 4. 87, 5. 88, 6. 89, 6. 97, 91, 7. 92, 9. 93, 9. Guess what happens now? Did you not? The year Jordan retires. This is, I believe, 94. This is the year Jordan retires. The amount of threes taken in the game almost doubles. You know why that is? Because people wanted to spread the floor more. So from 93 to 94, it was still 9, right? Almost 10. Now here's the thing. To 94, it's 15. 95 is 16. 96 is 16 again. Then it starts to drop. 97 is 12. You know how you can tell when it starts to follow a trend? Because what's winning in basketball is what most teams will go by, right? It's not based off what's more efficient and all that shit. No, it's who won, and who's winning all the time. So here's the pattern. The Bulls. This is how you can tell the Bulls had a big influence. The Bulls were winning from 90 to 93, right? Around that. So from 90 to 93. So the average there was about 8 to 9 threes a game, Right? They weren't a 3 shooting team. The Bulls retire and it shoots up immediately to the 16s. The Bulls start winning again and it starts to drop back down to the 12s. Right? Then 99 to 2000 is 13s. Right? 2000s is 14. Majority of the time is going to be it's going to stick to about 16 to 18 threes a game all the way up until 2013, right? Then in 2013 you start to see a big rise, 20, right? Then it starts 21, 22, 24. From 2014 to 2015, this is when you start to see the Warriors winning, right? The Warriors started winning and it shot up to 22. They started winning again still, stopped at 24. Then people saw the Warriors formula winning, so what they do, they start shooting threes, and Houston, of all teams, started shooting threes like crazy. So you start to see 29, 32, 30, 31, and 34. Right? Now, I'm going to do a little math for y'all real quick. I'm gonna show y'all a little math. So from, if you go based off of, let's go based off of just 99 to 90. In 1990, the amount of 3-pointers attempted was 6. By 2021, it went to 34. Right? 34. So just, I'm gonna just put that in perspective, right? So I'm gonna go. So 6, 34, that's what, 28? Oh, 28. So that's 28 more 3-pointer attempts, right? 28. So if you were to round that up, multiply that by 3, that is 84. So that's 84 points attempted more. 84 points attempted more. Now I'm gonna give you the points per game between those two same seasons. So 1990, all right, we're going off of 90. So in 1990, the average score was 106, right? 106. By 2021, the average score is 112. See where I'm going? So now, I'm doing the math for you. So the NBA has shifted to a point where we are attempting 84 more points. All right, we're trying to get 84 more points just to have 6. Ain't that crazy? We went from, in 1990, the average points was 106. In 2021, the average points was 112. That's only a 6-point difference. But the amount of 3-pointers have increased by 28, right? That means you're attempting 84 more points, which means, right, if you're doing 84, no, I mean, I'll say 84. You made 6 out of 84 points possible. You only made an increase of 7%. That's it. Out of all the threes you made and attempted and shit, you only made 7%. Just picture that. Picture that for a second. We're told this era here is so much better shooters and da. They're attempting more shots from the 3-pointer just to make 6 points. 6. You know how crazy that is? 6. You're literally attempting 28 more 3-pointers a game, and you only get 6-point difference. Where are you guys getting the word efficient from? I don't know about y'all, but if you get a 7% on the test, you going to detention. You getting a call home to your parents. You getting your butt whooped by those same parents. Why? Because 7% mean you just dumb as shit. Nah, let me not say it. Nah, I'm gonna say it. because it literally means like you in test wise, it means you only got probably not even one answer right. You probably got half an answer right out of like 30 questions. That's literally what it is. 7%. That you cannot say today's game is more efficient, better shooters, and everything like that, and only hit 7% of your 3-point shots difference. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't. It doesn't. That's horrible. That's horrible, right? But people love to make the argument like, oh, today's players are more skilled and da da da. Da. Here's the thing though. What do you guys call skill? Right? I look at skill as efficiency. I look at skill as I can get as much points as you, but with less effort. That's skill to me, right? It's not the fancy tricks. It's not jumping higher. It's not none of that. It's literally if its game is to 10, and I take in order for me to get to 10, I do 3 or 4 moves, and you do 20, 30, 50. Who's more skilled? Clay. So Clay is a catch and shooter, right? He's a catch and shoot. If I were to compare actually to another catch and shoot, so another catch and shoot player is Ray Allen, right? So I'm gonna compare him. I'm gonna compare to Ray Allen, right? So I got you, Yada. I got you. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So let's look at per game. All right. Ray Allen. Oh shoot! Wait, here you go. So Ray Allen attempted 1.3 less 3-pointers compared to Clay. He's also point. He's one not even 1%. 0.01. Point zero. You can round it to point. So he's 0.02. 2% of that's not even a whole percent, but that's 2% of a difference between Ray and Clay. Right. The biggest difference, and look, you know what's the crazy part? Clay Thompson averages only 19.5 for his career. Clay doesn't average 20 or 20 or more. He averages 19.5. Ray Allen only averaged 18.9. Right? They're literally, if you erase the names, they're almost exactly similar. Now, however, it's the volume, right? It's the volume of shooting. So Ray, of course, in the beginning of his career, he wasn't attempting this much threes, right? He wasn't attempting this much threes. Clay started off the back. Now, in regards to Dame is just another shooter in my opinion, right? Dame is another shooter. If you had to go back in time, right? Say you could take anybody from anywhere, any era, and you had to pick Dame, or you had to pick Patrick Ewing. Who you starting your thing off with? 60 points on 11 dribbles. See, that's more about being hot. Has he ever gotten close to that again? Because having things happen at one time does not level skill. It levels potential. All right, you get what I'm saying? If it happens one time, that means it can happen again. But if you're not promoting at least remotely close to it, then it's one of those not even once in a lifetime things. But it's definitely not consistent enough that it's something that can go, oh my God, he's a player that can do that. No, all right. Kobe, I think Kobe when he got his 81, Kobe was still having 60-point games and whatnot, so he could do shit like that. Devin Booker had a 73 game and never came remotely close ever again. Like you see what I'm saying? Like if you do something, and don't get me wrong, it could be remarkable. But if you do something and you're not consistently doing it or consistently close to it, then it's one of those once in a lifetime type things. You get what I'm saying? Hell, bro, in the gym, there was one point where I couldn't miss the entire night. I couldn't miss. But I wasn't consistent because after that night, I'm missing. It just shows what I can do. Doesn't show what I will do. You get what I'm saying? Now, but that again, if a player were to do that, 60 points on 11 dribbles consistently, even 50 points, 40 points, 30 points, right? If they were to do that consistently, that's skill. You get what I'm saying? That is skill. You get what I'm saying? Shooting has to be taught. Like, people don't understand the complexity with shooting. Shooting is muscle memory, but you also are doing math in your head, right? You're doing math and science in your head without realizing it. Because first things first, you're taking the ball, you know how much the ball weighs. That's number one. Then you looking at the hoop, you're looking at how far the hoop is and whatnot. Then you're analyzing how much power you got to put in your arm. Then you're analyzing how much torque is going to your wrist, right, to get it off. Then you're looking about how much spin rotation will it go through. And then after that, you're looking at what angle is best for me to do that on, right? While also trying to keep your other arm straight to be the one to aim it, right? You have all that happening. To the point where once it's in the air, majority of the time, guess what you do? You know it's gonna win. It's gonna go in or not. Majority of the time, you know it's gonna go in or not. Why? Because you know what it feels like to make the shot from that exact angle. You know what I'm saying? But to make it even better is because once it's in the air, you're also doing more math. You're looking at, oh, this is what I did, da, da, da. Based off that, it's gonna go in. It's not gonna go in. You know what I'm saying? Like that is kind of crazy when you think about it, but our brains naturally go into geometry and science and math and all that stuff once the ball is literally in our hand. Even when we go see a ball in the air and we get in for a rebound, guess what we're doing? Math. We're doing math. We're gonna, oh, it's gonna hit off that, it's gonna go off that, which means it's gonna go over there, and da. So I gotta jump over here and da. Like we do that. You know what I'm saying? But you wanna know my biggest example of like somebody who's like extremely skilled, but people don't view it as skill. Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. All Tim Duncan did was fundamental shit, and he was better than your big man. He was more skilled than your big man, but he wasn't flashy, right? People see Kyrie. Don't get me wrong, Kyrie is skilled, right? But Kyrie's flashy. His ball control is next level, right? But his movement is why did people say the ball control is on next level? Because Kyrie's movement is movement where the ball should be lost, right? Now, if Steve Nash comes up and goes, I'm just chilling, or AI just comes up, I'm just chilling, right? You try to take it from them, and you can't take this ball from me, right? Sorry, like, you know what I mean? Kyrie's going like behind the back, like he turning his arm this way, and then doing some other, and then spin, and then all that stuff. What's me to say he's more skilled then? Unless his production shows it. Now, don't get me wrong, he is more skilled than Steve Nash. His production actually does show it, right? I'm just saying that we got to stop confusing skill with flash, right? What's one of the biggest things that 2K has? There's two things that 2K has, right? Dribbling and ball security, right? We in reality try to equate both to being the same thing. The more your dribble and handling is up, the more you can have ball security. It's like, no. Everything itself is individually a skill. What I think that people did compared to back then was people sacrificed one thing to be great at another thing, right? For example, big men, right? You start to see big men now lose the muscle, right? They're not bulky and stuff no more. They lost their muscle to get more speed. So you sacrifice strength for speed. Then most of them are shooting threes instead of being in the paint, right? So what's that saying? So you're not really sacrificing. Hold on, let me see. It's crazy because Tim doesn't get same praise Luka does. Everyone was saying he was fundamentally sound because he was pro. So yeah, Tim Duncan literally came in, and then by the next year, he was the leading force for a ring. Like Tim doesn't get praise as much. Like he gets his praise. He's known as the greatest power forward of all time, but he doesn't get as much as he can because of the fact that he was just a fundamental player. Right? He didn't have to show you 25 dribbling moves and getting 30 a night and shit like that. He did literally what it is to win. The Spurs culture is not through Popovich. It's literally through Tim. Why do you think Popovich brought Tim back for like assistant coaching? It's not through Popovich. Popovich already was coaching with the Admiral, right? They wasn't winning still, right? When he got Tim, that's when Spurs culture happened. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people try to say Tim was blessed. Oh, you only won because he was in a good system. Tim was the system. How do you blame somebody for being the start of a system? Does that make sense to you? You only good because you was in a system that you started. That don't make sense, does it? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that people need to stop equating flash for skill. Hakeem Olajuwon was probably the most skillful big man ever, right? But he wasn't flashy. He had footwork. He wasn't flashy. But he could school Shaq, he could school Ewing, he could school Wilt, he could school Bill if he had to. He could school anybody on that block because that's how good he was with his footwork, right? But he wasn't flashy again. That's what I'm trying to say. He wasn't flashy, right? But he was good enough to be able to get what he needed at any time he needed it, right? Ain't no way you get both an offensive and defensive award in the same year doing just dumb shit, right? Luka is actually praised to be on being more skillful than Russell Westbrook, and that's the funniest thing in my opinion, because Luka has had the same success as Russ. You know what I'm saying? First round exits, right? The thing of the matter is Russ is just inefficient, and his inefficiency started mostly when he started bulking up. People don't realize that it's when he started bulking up that he didn't adjust his shooting form, right? But Westbrook is definitely one of those players. Definitely one of those players that gets underrated because he just can't shoot the ball long distance wise. Let's look at his field goal percentage. Russ's field goal percentage. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, people are kind of wild. Okay, so he started off bad. He started off his career bad, and then by 2011 to 2019, he was mostly averaging between 42, or no, actually from 43 to 47%. Right? 43 to 47%. So why do because it's his 3-point percentage. That's what people get mad at. So Russ is a player whose field goal percentage is basically borderline average, if not somewhat above average for the NBA, and his 3-point percentage is the lowest, one of the lowest in the NBA. So people bash him for being inefficient, even though his efficiency field goal percentage is .46 for his career, which means literally that he's an efficient player. What the fuck is wrong with people, yo? Okay, that's y'all are dumb. Like y'all really call anything inefficient. But like I told you early in the video, the whole league itself is shooting for 84 points and only getting 6. The whole league can't shoot threes as a whole. So Westbrook is just almost like the epitome of that, right? But even Westbrook shoots more at 27%, 30% than that 7% I talked about, that 7% increase. But yeah, a lot of people are viewed as more skillful than Russ. People think Russ is just literally, just athletic and that's it. And I always tell people, when it comes to Russ, when it comes to Zion, when it comes to these freak athletes, when it comes to Giannis, right? If all it was athleticism or height, you would see a lot more people doing it, right? Westbrook was never known for three shooting. He had a crazy mid range. Exactly. He just had a great crazy mid range. He had some clutch ass shots in OKC. He had a lot of game winners in OKC. But people don't like talking about that. People don't call him clutch, right? You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. But the biggest thing for me, right, when it comes to these type of players, is the skill is relative to who you're facing. Right? The skill is relative to who you're going against. People also got to realize when you say, "Oh, this player, if you send him back in time, he's gonna destroy this team and this team." No shit. If you send me back to fifth grade or fourth grade, I'm gonna be getting straight A's too because I have the knowledge from that grade, right? But if you send me back to fifth or fourth grade, right, without the knowledge I acquired watching fifth and fourth grade and going through fifth and fourth grade, I'm gonna be like every other kid there, right? Like that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, right? When they make these comparisons between eras and talk about who would be great and who would not be great, is they're not factoring in the fact that this player has to adjust or not adjust to the situation. You take Bird, Magic, Kareem, Bill, and put them into like here, then you have to have them grow up here too. It's still them, but now they learned all the stuff from the 90s and 80s through videos and all that stuff. Or if you take the players from here and put them back there, then they have to have lived that lifestyle too. They had to have had the black and white TV, right? They had to have watch games. They even watch games, because you had no cable, so you didn't even watch games. You heard about them on the news, right? You had all that happening, right? You black, guess what? Your your house was egged. You know what I'm saying? Even though you play for the Celtics. Yeah, I'm sorry, Bill, that they did that to you though, because they tried to put pride, Celtics pride, but I know they was like trying to egg your house and burn your house and all. I remember that. So, with all that being said, it's just like, what can you do, or what can you say when people try to say, oh, this person's more skillful because we have never seen something like this, and it's like, yes. That's what happens with time, right? Remember Vince Carter's dunks in the dunk contest? Ain't nobody see shit like that either, right? But guess who did get to see shit like that? The people after who get to saw shit like that. So they was like, all right, bet. If that's what I saw, I can adjust what I just saw and do something else. So now there's more shit we've never seen before, right? Evolution doesn't always come from betterment, right? It doesn't always come from being better. It's just about survival. Today's game survives off of offense, because if defense starts dominating again, the NBA is gonna have a stroke. The NBA is gonna have a conniption, right? So again, why do you think they put these rules in where you can't hand check and stuff like that? Because they know if great defenders start coming into this league, right? Great defenders who can average like 2015, 2010, whatever, they know that they could shut down the stars, which means the refs will have to call more calls because they can't have that happen, right? That's why you see flopping. All right, I hate flopping. Flopping, in my opinion, if you flop, bro, I think personally, if somebody gets hurt, like they do this, right? I want an immediate replay, and whoever gets flopped gets a tech. I don't give a shit, right? Ain't no fucking way you a grown ass man and you go right? You see the arms do it too. The arms be like this and shit, like they got shot or something. Like, man, you like 280, 300, whatever pounds, and the dude taps you on your shoulder. How you gonna, no. Anybody who does that, in my opinion, gets attacked. I don't care, right? Oh, shit, he hit you? Yeah, he hit me. All right, let me go see. No, you good. No, I'm gonna go see. Oh, tech on your ass, right? I want that shit to happen, right? They get attacked, which means, like, they can't put their, I think that would be great, because I think the more techs you have, the more likely you are to get kicked out of a game if you get another tech. So come playoff time, and you got another tech. I think that would discourage flopping. People think it's the fines, bro. If I'm earning 10, 30, 50 million dollars and I get fined $10,000, I don't give a shit, right? But give me a tech. I bet you I'm gonna give a shit there. I'm gonna give a shit there. Um, but yeah, definitely, guys. I think people should like chill out when it comes to the whole um, skill thing. When it comes to the whole error thing, I do think you have some players today that can play back then. I also believe you have some players back then that can play today. Uh, but the biggest thing that people got to realize is um, when doing this, right? Factor everything. Factor, did they grow up in this time, or are you taking like their play style and doing it now? Are they at an advantage or a disadvantage? For example, somebody who is 250, 6'10 or something like that is going to have an advantage today because everybody is weaker today. The paint is more open today. But that advantage is gone in yesterday's game because yesterday's game had more clogged paint. Everybody who you would intimidate is now in your ass. Like they right there with you. Right? They're blocking you. Right? You're gonna have to fight them in order to score. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing. Like you gotta take advantage. You gotta take advantage of the fact that do they have an advantage or a disadvantage based off of what's going on now? For example, if somebody won 10 championships today, if you say they can't be good back then, I'm gonna say you're lying. But I will say they won't get 10 championships. I'll say that they won't get no 10 championships, right? So definitely think about that. And then I'm gonna leave it off with two things. I want y'all to comment after I'm done. So the first thing I want y'all to comment is who do you think the Raptors, the Toronto Raptors, should retire their jersey first? Do you think it should be DeMar DeRozan? Do you think it should be Kyle Lowry? Or do you think it should be Vince Carter? Right, now that's number one. Number two, who do you think will win the championship this year? Right? Put one person you think will win the championship, and one person you think nobody expects to win and might win. Those are two things I want y'all to put in the comment after the video is done. I'll put it in the description as well for the thing. But with that, guys, appreciate y'all for coming through. Shout out to my pops again for showing up. Shout out to my boy Yachty. Yachty, if you want to, I could put you on cord. You don't need to have a camera on. I could just have your voice, and we could have a discussion next week. I just got to figure out what would be a nice discussion to talk about. So definitely let me know. I'm gonna text you in the group chat. So yeah, appreciate you guys for coming through. I hope you have a good night. And I'm about to almost go to bed, but I'm gonna go lay down for a bit. You know what I'm saying? See y'all.